Hallihallo and welcome to a brand new video series, The Road to Paupergeddon. This is where I will be playtesting and analyzing Blue Terror and Dimir Terror for the next month, so for the whole of February. And if we reach 100 subscriptions at the end of it on YouTube, I will bring the testing and all that we have found out together to a challenge and play the deck there. And then hopefully by the end of February, I will have made up my mind what deck to play on Paupergeddon myself. So leave a subscription and look forward to some more leak videos with probably slightly different deck lists every time, and then analysis videos on the meta, on sideboarding and card choices and everything. I have some ideas, not everything is fixed. You can also request stuff. But yeah, I hope you are as excited as I am. So the first video is going to be a Pauper League with Blue Terror, as you see it in front of you. And I'm going to do a bit of a longer deck tag this time, because it's the beginning of the series and this is supposed to be the anchor for the Blue Terror deck. So this archetype has been around for quite some time, and at the time when I started playing Pauper, so that was in 2023, yes, that was before the Modern Horizons 3 cards. I think this deck was around, but Dimir Terror and Blue Terror and decks like Caw Gates and Gardens at that point, they were just way bigger than today. And Blue Terror, like the tempo partner to these decks, wasn't as prevalent, I think. And then with Modern Horizons 3 came, Chrysalis, Refurb, Hydra, Brutescale at that point. Also like cards like Tomb Raider in the next sets that really, kind of shifted the meta away from these super grindy archetypes. And what was left was basically combo that was in the Brutescale ages. Then the really good aggro decks, mono red aggro, and then these Wellspring and Fanatical Offering piles. And it was kind of set that if you can't beat Chrysalis, Eco Wellspring, and Refurbished Familiar in grinding, there is no use that you try to grind in this format. And here, Blue Terror actually started to become a main pillar of the format, I would say. And due to the meta, it's, as we know it nowadays, it's at least online, the most played decks. It has a really great stats of winning as well. And what you see here is the most common aggressive tempo strategy of version of the deck. So notably, we are running Delver of Secrets. I think for the whole testing I will be running Delver. Maybe one video I could see trying the Mystic version without Delver, but for me, Delver is just a really strong aspect of the deck. Putting down a 1-mana creature that starting turn 2 can attack for 3. Sometimes it takes the time to flip it, but either way, at some point you have a really undercosted threat. And undercosted threats are also these two snakes, Tolarian Terror being the better one. It can go down to 1 mana 5/5 with Ward 2. That's a really tough to beat threat, especially because this deck is capable of putting it down on turn 3 if things go really well, actually multiple of them turn 3. And Cryptic Serpent is just a little slower brother or sister that will always cost 2 and is a 6/5 without ward. So it plays a similar role. It's just a little slightly less powerful. And most important, to get to these 12 threats is the cantrip suit. I think these cards are even stronger actually than the threats. The threats are amazing on for Pauper levels, but the brainstorms, the cantrips, they're kind of on a legacy level actually. So we have playsets of Brainstorm and Ponder that can both look at 3 cards for 1 mana and rearrange them, rearrange the hand. Ponder can also shuffle. Brainstorm has the upside of putting cards from the hand back on top of the deck, and whichever road you go down, Mental Note and Thought Scour are going to be able to then clear off the top deck and get either rid of just cards you don't need at the current moment, so you can get rid of lands later on, or cards that help you also from the graveyard. But in the early game, you will usually just try to mill spells so that Tolarian Terror and Serpent become cheaper. And again, this helps you set up your lands early on and helps you to set up really aggressive, really undercosted threats in the early game. And because you only run untapped lands, I don't know, behind the mono-red decks, I always feel like this deck is the quickest at setting up its board state. And the appeal of the deck is that you can really skip forward to an end game really quick. So like if it's really smooth sailing, by turn 4, you might have 2 or 3 creatures in play and a counter spell or a dispel or like another interaction piece in hand. And that's just enough to win the game. It doesn't always work, of course. But you have set yourself up to finish the game within 2 turns, and the opponent always has to answer this. They could prolong it. Sometimes you fight some battles, but if they fail to answer your threats, usually the game is over really quick. And to me, that's a great appeal to play it. And then we also have 4 counterspell and 3 dispel. This is specific to the list I'm playing right now. Usually I have 2 spell pierce, 2 dispel. Spell pierce is a bit better at fighting over relics and spell bombs and the early draw spells of the red decks and the early draw spells of the green decks. And dispel is better at fighting the black card draw and just to protect your creatures. And I wanted to try today to, start with the most polarized tempo version that really relies on closing the game as early as possible. So we have 3 dispel. Then 2 Sleep of the Dead, 2 Demon Furia has become kind of stock. Deem puts a permanent, or like a non-land permanent, second from the top or bottom. That is really as close as you get to a cast down in mono blue. Whenever you splash red or black in this deck, you run better spot removal, but Demon Furia is kind of right now the best spot removal, I would say. And Sleep of the Dead is actually way better than I thought in the beginning. So you would think that the game usually ends on turn 4 or 5, as I described, but already on turn 4 you can double sleep the opponent's creatures, and that enables an attack on this turn and also on the next turn, because the creatures won't untap. So sleep of the, if you have, let's say you have 2 terrors in play and the opponent has only 2 creatures, Sleep of the Dead taps them down for 2 attack steps, and you swing in for 10, and then you swing in for 10 again. So it's already early pretty good. Also, it's 1 mana, so you can sometimes play it early to preemptively make the terrors cheaper. And then in the late game, like if you have 8 mana or something, it feels like a repeatable board wipe. Doesn't work in all circumstances, and it dies to graveyard hate, but it's a really powerhouse in the late game. And also powerhouses in the late game are Lorien reveals, 4 of them. Nothing much to say about this card, it's just one of the greatest. And then 1 Deep Analysis, also because it synergizes so well. And for example, in the mirror, if you just hardcast this for 4 mana and then flash it back, you've drawn 4 cards out of 1 card, and that can just be enough to win the whole game. Sideboard-wise, there's actually very few cards that are being played in this deck. So right now it's 6 Blue Blast effects, 4 Null against the artifact strategies, but also against a lot of enchantment stuff, like a lot of removal, like Journey to Nowhere. But of course it's mainly there for the affinity decks and for spell bombs and such. Blue Blast, of course, against red decks. Also help against Jund and Grixis. And then Envelop is kind of a modal spell. It has like way more utility than you would think. So, for example, the red decks play 4 Grab the Prize and 4 Highway Robbery. Or Rally plays 4 Rally to the Hornburg and 4 of the Impulse Draw. So whenever you play against the main red strategies, you have Envelop that hits spells that I would usually Blue Blast or counterspell anyways. And you just have Envelop for that as well. So it's kind of I see it as the Blue Blast number 7 and number 8. But importantly, you can also board it in against Elves and Spy. So there it's mainly to counter Winding Way and Lethal Stampede. And against Spy, of course, you can also hit Dread Return, which is absolutely crucial. And then sometimes I even board it against Mono Blue, for example, because if you're able to contest Lorien Revealed, Ponder, and then also Deem Inferior, and to some degree Sleep of the Dead and Deep Analysis, it's also usually just good enough. So it's a pretty versatile card. It's Blue Blast number 7 and 8, but has a lot more utility. And then the last is Gutshot, which is mainly there for creature decks with relevant 1 toughness creatures. So Elves and Faeries come to mind first. Elves especially is a pretty big problem for this deck right now. So running 3 Gutshot and 2 Envelop is just trying to do something against them. Fae is kind of on the demise right now, but it's also amazing against Spellstutter and Ninjas and Fairies, of course. And then you can board it in actually in some scenarios where you wouldn't think. For example, in the mirror, it's really important to contest Delver of Secret. If Delver goes unanswered, sometimes you just lose 9 or 12 life to it before you have to stop it with Sleep or Deem. And that can be just a pretty tough task. And although Gutshot does nothing else basically in the matchup, against the Delver versions, you brought it in. And then, for example, against Spy, although most of their creatures are 0-3 or 0-4, they have Quirion Ranger and Mesmeric Fiend. And there you also want Gutshot, because Quirion Ranger just stops Sleep of the Dead, and you can never attack into a generous end if they can always untap it. So Mess Fiend, of course, there's usually a counter spell lying under the Mess Fiend, and getting that back is great. So this is the main configuration. The deck has been pretty stable lately. I put here to the side the namely exclusions. That's just right now, but Murmuring Mystic I sometimes play even in the Delver version. That would be one testing point for the future. I could also see testing the Mystic build with 4 Force Spike or whatever has been around. I'm really not a fan of that, but sometimes you have to challenge yourself to play something to get to understand it. You could be playing more Demon Furia. I saw that as well. For me, the 2 Deem, 2 Sleep seem fine right now, but maybe this will be tested. 2 Deep Analysis I have been running lately. This is mainly a meta call, like if you expect the whole opposition to be Wildfire, Gardens, Affinity, and all these decks where you need a lot of cards and grinding, then having a Deep Analysis sometimes feels to me almost better than having the Mystic. But of course, both of these cards are pretty good when it comes to grinding, and I think they will be part of the testing. And then Disrupt, just like Force Spike, to me personally, I see the potential of both these cards, but I just hate having cards in hand that I can't use meaningfully. Like Disrupt, at least you can cycle it by countering some stuff that the opponent pays 1 and then you draw a card anyways. But I had both of them in the deck for some testing, and I was basically always sitting there thinking, I just want Spell Pierce. I think I don't know what needs to happen for me to consider these cards over Spell Pierce. Right now, only this spell goes over Spell Pierce. So I will put these to the side, but if you have suggestions to me or you want to see something tested, make sure to reach out to me. For this month, I'm fully open to test things. And with all of that said, I hope it's been informative to you, and I will be running it to the league. All right, let's start. This is a very fine looking hand, and let's kick things up with the perfect start of Island Go. Namely we have Brainstorm and Thought Scour to set the terror up, and then the rest we need to find. Fairy Miscreant is a very bad sign, actually. So let's see. We could Brainstorm here, or try to do both on their turn. Let's Brainstorm as long as we can. I think I'm fine putting Lorien in the bin and Mental Note. And here we can reset the grave, draw for turn. I think I'm just gonna run another Brainstorm so it doesn't get spell stuttered. Oh, and Delver is a good one. So I could see playing Delver next turn, and then we have set up the flip already. Delver is pretty big in this, and they don't. So I'm playing Ponder here first to kind of bait the spell stutter. They don't do me the favor, but good enough. Now we got Dispel. So I think now I want to run Terror first, because if they have Counterspell, I can Dispel. Thank you. And now it's a decent start. They haven't ninja'd yet. We have the Terror already. I guess they have trouble with the Terror. Okay, now they have the big ninja, but they're tapped out again, so we can resolve Delver next turn. And they didn't find the land drop. Okay. Pretty good, all of it. So Delver is for sure. And now we got Thought Scour and 2 unknown in this Brainstorm. I think I'm fine. Or we could actually cast Lorien next turn. That's pretty big. So let's put back Island and Thought Scour to utilize this flip. The question is, yeah, I don't think we attack. It would be nice, of course, to attack with Terror. But next turn we gotta flip Delver and then we can start attacking with that. So here's the Fairy Miscreant again. We really don't know what their hand is. But I think for now I just wanna flip the Delver. It's like a lot of stuff can happen here. And they got a handful of spells, presumably. But at the same time, they should have a pretty tough time to get through these creatures. And I think I just don't want to give them any value. So of course we could attack for 8. I think against Faeries, I like the plan of, if they cannot attack and connect, then what they're doing is playing 2/2s and 1/1s. Here comes Snap. Let's see and look for interaction. It's pretty decent. Let's look again. Okay. Delver goes back. And yeah, I mean, now they get the attack on the fairy attack open, but they needed to invest to get there. And now they're gonna tap out. So they're gonna get their ninja draw. No further ninjutsu. And I mean, slamming Lorien would be amazing, of course. But I think playing a Serpent and the new Delver is almost as good. And this spell is really gonna help with resolving the Lorien. That's a problematic card. Yeah, so Lorien can't get spell started. And if there's counterspell, we can answer it with this spell. Let's hope we also flip the Delver naturally. That would be nice. They got the small ninja. Sure. And Fairy always wins with this incremental damage, incremental value game. So they dealt 2 damage. They got another Miscreant in hand. And we have to ultimately win by presenting just bigger board pressure. I don't know. Maybe it's correct to raise them, like to start attacking with this Terror earlier. But to me it seemed better to keep the creatures back as blockers. Okay, and here is another Serpent, which I like better than keeping up Counterspell, because it will resolve here. And with this, I think It's not an amazing tech. Yeah, like if they have snap or 1 removal, then we take 5 here or something. Yeah, let's wait 1 more turn. And we are at 7 lands. So starting next turn, we can easily activate Sleep of the Dead twice. Yeah, here's the snap. Question is whether they have removal for the serpent now. No, they don't. I wonder why they attack only with 1 creature, but who knows? Yeah, it's again incremental value, incremental damage. We will never heal, so 10 is the maximum for this game. Be really good to flip the Delver. Let's do that first. Yes. Draw mental note, we can use it later. So what do we want to tap down? Okay, let's play the serpent first, see what happens. They counter it. We dispel. Can't get spell started again. Like, I think we're in a decent shape just because there has not been spell starter. And now I think this aberration is enough to stop the flyers. And I hope this serpent is enough to stop both ninjas. And now we start swinging. Intruder. Okay. Would be funny if they quadruple blocked here. They don't. And we're good to pass. So they have 2 cards in hand, and if the board doesn't change, we're still kind of ahead. I mean, they can swing, but apparently they can't afford. I think I want a mental note and end step. If they have spell starter, we're gonna counter it. Demon Fury is decent. What is a good Demon Fury target? Probably the ninjas. It's not amazing as well. Oh, terror. Ooh, counterspell. Okay, so now here comes the nice part. Let's draw the terror. We could get rid of this Blossom Bind, actually. Maybe that's the best, actually. Okay, let's start with a terror for 1. What do you have, opponent? Not so much. Let's get rid of this. Would I counter it on the way back? Maybe. Maybe not. This best at that. Let's hope we can counter this best at. Yes, we can. So now we really don't want them to draw a card. Because if they draw an extra card, they have a removal. But then again, to get there, really need to pay the price. Okay, they have that thing. Okay, so now they draw the card again. In that case, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best Demon Fury. Maybe I should have kept that for a more decisive moment. If they swing, they lose a lot of creatures, but also they do a lot of damage. Maybe they're calculating what we could do with Deem. Oh, they have Snap as well. Snap is a good top deck for them. Okay. Yeah, so now this attack is very, very heavy. We have to keep the Delver, but now they draw 1,000,000 cards. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, the Ill Void in hand and the Snap redraw kind of wrecks us here. Maybe we should have played even more defensive with the sleep and the upcoming counter spells. But I think here now I'm just gonna concede to save some time. We're at 1 and I don't think we can prevent getting hit for 1 for the rest of the game. Okay, so close 1. We are starting off with with quite the tough matchup. I'm gonna bring in 2 annuls against the removal spells, and if they hardcast Moonstruck Attacker, good for us. I think Demon Fury is pretty bad against them. So Deem goes out alongside Deep Analysis. And now the question is, if we take out the annuls again, everything else is just really solid. Could Increase our graveyard and digging slightly. And null against these removals. I want to try it. Then again, Mental Note and Ponder are really strong to set up the early turns. You know, I'm playing the version today with 4 Ponder and 4 Mental Note. I usually don't do that, so let's see how good the cantrips are. We're on the play again. Again with a decent hand, no Thought Scour, but the rest is pretty good. And let's hope to not get spell stuttered. Okay. So if next turn we play Delver, then I want Mental Note as the lowest card and pass the turn. Could be a decent start again, actually, because this Delver is gonna resolve, I think. They have Miscreant. We don't have Gutshot, but it's not like we have to have it to win. Kind of want to brainstorm to make our land drops. Yeah, let's do that. Perfect. Let's put back these 2. I think one of them we will draw. The other probably not. Could have put back Counterspell and Millet. Big Ninja. Actually, we could still do that. Maybe I should have showed them Counterspell. Okay, here, so we're gonna do a cool trick. We're gonna reveal this spell. Let me count. If we draw this dispel, use Mental Note, might be too little, but I really want to make sure that we get 1 terror at least. So let's mill both dispel. Draw. This Thought Scour is for free when it comes to the terror count. Let's play a terror. We even got Sleep of the Dead in the grave. And I'm gonna attack. I think there's some stuff they can do against the terror, but don't care. This game I want to make more pressure. Yeah, and next turn we can actually terror, counterspell, and sleep. They really have something for 1 mana. So funny, they have so many enchantments. Maybe a null is actually good against them. Whenever it becomes tapped or is dealt damage, destroy it. I mean, it's not gonna do us much service, I think, so let's block here. Okay, but they tapped out again. So we get to play another terror. Do we Thought Scour here? I think so. This is like usually you wouldn't Thought Scour here, but playing around Spell Stutter is just so crucial. Okay, the game would have been a bit smoother with 2 terrors now, but Harrier Strix. They tap down the terror. That's a bit annoying actually. I'm just gonna contest it. Also, Harrier Strix is actually quite good. They have Dispel, so now they have mana to pay ward. Ah, okay. But they want to keep up mana themselves. Okay. But that means they... Okay, that means they can off one mind. Oh, and Relic. Yeah, maybe we actually need a null in this matchup. Okay, they don't go for the whole thing. Just go for 1 card for now. Okay, so importantly, they have 4 cards in hand. If we sleep from the graveyard, we don't have counterspell up. That's annoying. But if this ninja is tapped 2 turns, we can also pressure them really good. Let's just do that. Okay, so Harrier Strix is down. If we use sleep here, something could happen to our terror. And that's not a good outcome, so let's dig just for more creatures. We find them, that's good. Let's put it back like this. Play another Delver. So now they can attack and draw a card, but we're gonna have 11 attacking damage next turn, and they don't know that we have Sleep of the Dead on top of the deck. So I think it's kind of tough for them to attack here. And if they do, they might be in a pickle. They do. I mean, they could have Brine Borrow and this stuff. Miscreant. I think Miscreant is worth countering. Galeblade. And Harrier Strix. Okay. We get blockers. But is it gonna be enough blockers? No, because we can tap them both down. No, we can't. Okay, so if we had a graveyard, we could... like this, we can force them to jump. And I think jumping with Galeblade, as long as they're tapped out, I like a bit better. Attack for 11. They have to jump. And next turn they will not have a flying blocker unless they get one through a counter spell. I don't even know if this is correct, but just do it anyways. Yeah, unfortunately we can't use Sleep of the Dead because we only have 2 other cards in the grave. They're digging. We draw an island, so next turn we can only swing basically. But I don't know. If they play 1 creature, they still need to double jump. No, I think they're, I don't know, digging for snap or something. There's definitely a combination of cards that survive here. Yeah, for that is one of them. They go to 1. Okay. They go to 4. I'm just gonna play this stuff out. Really good draws would be just Brainstorm, Thought Scour. Okay, so notably they need to get rid of the flyers. They're still digging. Oh my god. This relic was really huge for them. I think otherwise... I mean, now it's the opposite. Like, they have to throw resources under the bus just to keep going. I'm gonna play Delver here, because if they counter it, we got a sleep activation. They spell stutter it. Okay, now let's hope that they don't have a ninja or something in hand. I mean, it's rough. They can jump Terror and go to 1. They jump both. It's more than fine with me. I forgot to play the land, but I hope it won't matter. They are digging so hard. It's actually impressive the kind of value Faeries can bring up. But yeah, it's the second ninja they have to hardcast. And they have to jump again if they have nothing else. And I mean, you have these games where Terror just floods, which you would think is mathematically impossible. I had way more problem with this when I started playing the deck. Like right now I can just accept it. It's you can call it bad luck, you can, I don't know, complain about it. But to me it's just, yeah, you top deck 3 islands, so 3 turns you don't do anything. But it, like, you don't do anything new, but you still usually have something going, so you just can't add to the board. Oh man, with 7 minutes on the clock, I start wondering whether I will be able to finish this in time. So yeah, maybe I will comment a little less now. Another ninja. Draw 2. At least play the Strix thing. Come on. 1 mental note. 1 mental note is 1 Sleep of the Dead activation. Gutshot is also decent. We're almost dead on the backswing. Oh no, we are dead on the backswing. Come on. So sad. Strix tap for damage. GG's. Okay. So yeah. Faeries is a tough matchup for sure. And I think the opponent didn't make too many mistakes. I think we had some sloppiness in game one. One time I wasn't sure if just attacking and let them have the value is the best, but usually I don't like it. And then here, I think when we played the first terror, maybe it could have been prevented that they have this cryo shatter on it. And also the turn where they played the relic, I felt like you can't always prevent that, but maybe I could have done a bit better to let both of these happen, because they did a lot of stuff afterwards, of course, but I think these, the relic and the cryo shatter on the first terror were what really stopped us from doing what we wanted to. So let's keep it in mind to board in a null against Faeries, and see you on the next one. Welcome to round 2, where I play against Tugger Naxos. This hand I like a lot. Let's keep it. We can't guarantee turn 2 Delver flip, but we can play Delver and Ponder on turn 2, and then flip both of them on turn 3, almost assured. I mean, you know. Ooh, even better. So this is I think this is gonna be a showing of just how much this deck can do with Delvers. Let's draw Terror and put Sleep on top. Yeah, so we're gonna attack them for 6 on turn 3, and they have the Modern Age. Okay, so they're one of the slow blue decks. They got Strands. Wow. And here the question is, we're gonna reveal Sleep, and then I think we're gonna mill it. Because why would we draw Sleep here? And now with a perfect mental note, we could even Terror here. I think it's worth to try it. It's pretty unlikely. Sadly, it didn't happen, but I think it's fine. I don't think we brainstorm just yet. And so now they need to answer Insectile Aberration. And next turn we can Terror plus Deep Analysis. They're only starting to set up the white mana. Brainstorm gives us a little bit more tempo. Just one more mana. Could be good though. I think here we just aggressor. Could shuffle away some stuff. I think I'm good with that. Terror, perfect. So let's Ponder here for Dispel or whatever. Counterspell, not too bad either. So next turn they got Cat and Strands, which is a bit annoying, but are we running into anything if we double Terror here? Yeah, probably. They get the Modern Age next turn. I don't know. It never feels good to tap out against these decks. And they have Strands here as well. But Strands maybe saves them only one turn. It's Quadrant Hawk. Wow. But aren't they dead to Sleep of the Dead? Oh, we need to find an island. Ah, I remember. We could sleep, but then they Strands. We need to force the Strands. Right now we don't. We could just draw like that. So now we got a land. And if we find Deem, that's not enough, but let's do it anyways. 2 serpents. So yeah, Ponder's showing off, as always. I think I'm fine trading Vector Glider for Insectile Aberration. They still use Strands. Sure. I wonder what their game plan is, but they use Strands here. Of course they can counter. Okay, so they can draw a lot, but if they don't have strands, I'm gonna attempt to cause them trouble. I think with one white, they have a gate. Is this Caw Gates? It's crazy, they played 4 non-gate cards. Really unusual. It's fine with me. Okay, and they concede. So they are either something interesting, or they're just Caw Gates. For a moment, I was wondering how they want to win. Like, for example, playing Sacred Cat, if you don't have Basilisk Gate or anything, is, I don't know, yeah, it's just tough. But okay, let's assume it's Caw Gates. Caw Gates is running Journey to Nowhere and Modern Age, and potentially even Relics. We don't know about that. And they're also running Red Blast is possible. So I think we have to rely on the terrors to win this one. The removals are all good. Sleep is great. Demon Furia is good enough because this matchup is just about tempo on turn 5, 6, 7, as we saw. So one Demon that gets rid of whatever, maybe even a cat token is fine. Deep Analysis we would like to play, but I don't know if we can afford. And Delver I think is pretty good, but it's not good as these cards. We're running 3 Dispel, so I'm gonna take out the Hydros for now. And then Deep Analysis can be clunky. It's rough with the Delvers. We had such a great start. But Delver is, I think in this matchup, Delver is only good when you have the perfect start. And later on it just gets mitigated too easily. This is one of the risky hands if you have only Thought Scour and a Serpent as a setup. You might just do nothing in the whole game. And if this Thought Scour like draws an island or something, like this hand is just not functioning. This is better. As long as you have Ponder, there's always hope of sculpting something together. Question is here to put back Demon Furia or Dispel. I like Dispel a little bit better. Okay, let's win one more game against presumably Caw Gates. Okay, this start is more like it. We're trying to find stuff already. No, let's do it next turn. Like, we could Ponder here, but we're gonna make this land drop almost certainly anyways. So I'm doing it now, and then next turn we have either Ponder and Thought Scour, or we keep up Counterspell even. So actually not the worst. So we need to prevent Squadron Hawk for sure. That's just way too much value, and we can't answer the flyers in the long run. If they have it here, well, nothing to be done. Yeah, in the grindy match where it's somewhat about trading, Squadron Hawk is always amazing, and I think they just used the first window to resolve it. Strands, I think in this matchup you can even hold back. I think now the worst stuff they can do to us is Brainstorm or Modern Age, so I'm just gonna Ponder here. Flame Charm also, but at least we have Dispel, so I think Ponder here is okay. Not so afraid of the creatures right now. If they hadn't played Squadron Hawk, I would keep up Counterspell almost certainly. Okay, and we wasted a good chunk of the time already. I always need to be aware of that. Terror is great. Let's draw it and then pass. So they have already the Basilisk plus Squadron online. I assume they don't start attacking here, but they could. And if they do, we're already under serious pressure. Our clock will be better with the terror, but just to keep in mind, it's a potential for them to go aggro. Let's see if they have land drops. Maybe they're playing around something here right now. Modern Age. Do we need to cut this off? I think we do. Maybe they're digging for land drops. Later on, it's just going to be another flyer. Okay, so they choose white. So Seagate would be perfect to choose red, actually. So I could see that they don't have that. If we thought Scour here, we could terror. I think that's fine. Okay, so this is the basic game, right? Turn 1, Velorian. Turn 2, Ponder plus Interaction. Turn 3, Thought Scour plus Terror, and we even have this spell up. So this is like this is the perfect setup. And now we're asking the question to them, can you beat this? And I mean, let's be realistic. They're Caw Gates. And this is definitely an attempt to beat our start. They could Thraben Charm now our grave, but there is nothing much to be done, and Brainstorm helps them make land drops. I still hope that they are struggling on lands, to be honest, because that's definitely one way that this deck is losing. And I'm very glad to see that this is exactly what's going on. Okay, so we got a window here. Question is, I think we are just gonna look for a creature. Oof, this is so good. Then again, we can't have Counterspell open, but I think 2 terrors is just much stronger. If they don't find an untapped land here, they have no removal for the terrors. And then the only thing they can do is Strands. But next turn we get 2 Counterspell up. So unless they have Strands in hand, currently they have 5 unknown, 4 unknown. If they have Strands here, they're still in decent shape. Oh, they play the last Squadron. It's a really good sign. Like this point in the game, it's really good. And a cat. Okay. Now they have 3 unknown cards. And another 7. Wow. I mean, the deck is really showing off right now. And, the 7 we saw would have probably not been able to do this. And so 1 mulligan. I think it's just okay to counter this. We could give them 1 turn. Could play Serpent and then prevent a removal. They can't attack back with the cat. That's good for now. If we counter the Strands, they either go to 5. I think I'm okay with the Strands. I just don't want removal. This might be a precious turn we're giving to them. Oh, they gain 1 life. Also precious. But yeah, I could see that if they don't have Strands now, can just beat them. And Journey, I hope we can also beat. No, they got Counterspell up. Despair. Okay, so now this went the wrong way. So starting next turn, they can attack with a pumped cat, which is definitely trouble for us. If we attack for 10, they swing back for 9. We go to 9. I think we have to do it anyways. Yeah, this spell was rough. If we counter Journey here and attack for 16, They block with the whole team. Well, I take that every day. That's huge because now they cannot attack back with... Oh no, wait. Yeah. Yeah, I want to get rid of the white creatures. Now they cannot attack back with lifelink. And if they embalm the cat, we could actually get lucky to find Demon Inferior. I think that was not correct to block like this. I think if you jump 1 terror, it's enough. You could even take 10. Maybe they're very afraid of our hand. They can pump the glider. They just attack for 2. Now they have red on one of these sea gates. Pyroblast on the terror. This is all... I think they're way too afraid of this terror, but good for us. Come on, let's find something against this cat. We don't. And the reason is they don't need to answer, like they don't need to kill our terrors, because what they're doing right now with the cat, it just basically answers the terror. Come on. Okay, just 1 removal. Give me 1 removal. That is not 1 removal. I want to brainstorm again next turn. If they find a land, they put us to 1. But I can't really trade with this cat yet, so can't keep the terror back. So I have to attack. Okay, I just hope they have no gate and play Journey or something. Okay. And now the Brainstorm on top of our deck finds an island and 2 unknown. Ah, another cat. So bad. Can we counter this? If we counter this, they just replay it. The thing is, we're also dead to this Vector Glider now. So we kind of need to win next turn. It's really tough to sculpt outs at this point. They don't replay the cat. So they have counterspell? All these cards, they don't do anything. No, I think now it's over. There's nothing to answer the Vector Glider, so let's just concede. Save some time. Okay, so turn 2 Squadron Hawk was a problem. And we had a pretty good setup, but we just lose to cat plus Basilisk. And there's... I don't know. It seems like there's no way around that. Maybe we have to play Delphos. Get rid of Annul. Get rid of Deep Analysis. Get rid of 1 mental note. What am I not seeing? Maximum Aggression. Annul. I mean, Annul really hits only the removals. So I think 2 is fine. Some people never cut the cantrips, but I frequently do that. Like if opponent is not contesting my graveyard, I just cut a mental note or 2. If I need higher density of other effects. Okay, let's win on the play against Caw Gates. This hand could turn into something great, but we can't make sure. I misclicked. I wanted to mulligan this. That happens every now and then. It's not a terrible hand, but as you see now, if this Thought Scour and the next draw step is bad, we have 1 more draw step to get anything going. Of course, it's an island. No, wait, actually. Now we're keeping up Counterspell. Okay, so now we need to play it slow, and that's not where we want to be. Sacred Cat. There's just no way we can counter that. Despair. 1 demon is gone. Okay, there's a Delver, there's hope. So yeah, we needed to kind of top deck or naturally find a threat. and we had 4 draws and it worked out. Relic, of course, we don't want to happen. Now they have a Basilisk already. Yeah, this is definitely going the wrong way. Now we need to flip this Delver and find any scenario where we beat a Relic, Basilisk Gate, and a Sacred Cat. So that's the thing, like you can always win against Caw Gates, but they need to do so little to create huge problems for you. If they now make the next 2 land drops, we need to find a pretty wicked way to beat a Sacred Cat. And this Relic beats Sleep of the Dead, so Demon Furia to the top deck, and then then what? They redraw it, they replay it. They think about it. I mean, if we block here, we bet on top deck Demon Furia. It's actually still better than getting hit by whatever they do next. I mean, this is... top deck Terror would have been great. Yeah, I don't know. This was not a hand to keep. And it shows, like, we have a full graveyard, okay, but we rely on top decking so much. That's sad. I wanted to see a good game 3. So they replay the cat. They crack the Relic. I mean, we got 1 Demon Furia in the deck and 2 Sleep of the Dead. They got 5, now 6 cards. And here they start attacking for 5 lifelink if they want. They don't. What is this attack? I mean, this Delver is not winning against this cat, so I can just do this. Is this... Oh, I forgot to counter it. Whatever. Is this to humiliate me now? Yeah, sure. I don't know. In some wicked world with Sleep of the Dead we can do things. Why are they not activating? Okay, so definitely we're resolving our spells. I like that. Terror meant to not counter spell. Okay, so with Brainstorm would have been huge here. Like this, it's still fine. Play Terror for 5. Unfortunately, we can't. So, yeah. We can't Terror. Like, we could Terror here, but we can't. Just because our only chance of winning is they got nothing but this cat. Which is, of course, unlikely, but letting Terror run into a Red Blast and then they untap, play Lorien. That would be our end for sure. And now it's just that we have very little time to do our stuff. But let's see. Brainstorm. Brainstorm, you know. This is why you play Mono Blue. There's always hope if you have a Brainstorm. And whatever we need, it needs to start with... Now we can double block. Oh no. It's still 2 mana, the Terror. With that knowledge, I would have Lorient here. Okay, what can you do? So now we do like decent stack fights, but it doesn't solve the problem that this cat is beating us to death. Now they got 2 Basilisks. If they double activate, we need to jump. And they do. Oh my god. Okay, so the sequence that we have is next turn Lorien into Sleep of the Dead or Demon Furia. That's some fancy top decks now. And they have something. GG. Okay. Another rough one. Caw Gates. Yeah, again, a bit sad that that I misclicked the mulligan. Like 2 counterspell, 2 thought scour, and 3 islands is... Yeah, this is maybe there's some matches where you would keep that, but by turn 3, you have drawn 4 extra random cards, and maybe countered one thing. And if these 4 random cards are like maybe a brainstorm and a ponder and then whatever else, then you can start to shape the hand in a way that you need it. But if you don't have card selection, just drawing 4 cards random and have 2 counterspell in hand, it just won't get you anywhere. And sadly, that was the display of the last game. Besides that, yeah, Terror against Caw Gates is all about tempo, and it won us one game. So round 3, we're up against Roast Toast. Let's see what they're on. So round 3, we're on the draw. This is of course a terrible one. This has no land. This we can do something. Let's just put away some interaction. And they start and we go up to 6 cards. Forest. Okay. Wow. I mean, we could sleep that. But just Quirion Ranger gets around it. Oof, this is such a rough start. Faeries, Caw Gates, Elves. I think it's already a showing of what you sign up for when you play the best deck of the format, or like one of the most played ones at least. Everyone comes prepared, and yeah, surely the Stampede turn 2. So yeah, could be a sign that they have a bad hand, but could also be a sign that they just know that they kill us if they resolve the draw spells. Island is good, but of course I didn't want to see it here. Quirion, Must, Vandal, Generous End. So right now they don't have much mana, but of course that can change quickly. So we're gonna ponder. We need lands and we need to set up this Delver. Sometimes it's bad that you can't. Yeah, I misordered this ponder. Would have been better to draw Brainstorm here, because we can put Sleep of the Dead and Dispel back and Thought Scour it. It's actually way better than what I did, because this spell is just completely dead in this matchup, and I thought we could only counterspell. No, we could only brainstorm after counterspell. But then again, it sucks, but we just have to delay everything a bit. Yeah. So we show them counterspell, which is okay. And then next turn we're gonna do this whole business. This is just gonna be a blocker for now. Targets for counterspell would be draw spells, Generous End, Timberwatch Elf, Hydra, actually Quirion Ranger, but you can usually not afford to. Quirion Ranger is actually one of the best targets for Gutshot, namely because it shuts off Sleep of the Dead, but also that, all the mana, all the Timberwatch activation gets so much bigger. Game 1, it's really rough against them because Quirion Ranger we just can't ever get rid of. Maybe Deem plus Counterspell, but then we spend 2 really good cards on it. And if they have Quirion Ranger, we don't have Sleep, so we just have to beat their board as it is. And if they have ever Timberwatch pre-board or post-board, it's very, very tough to win. And Timberwatch, as soon as it can pump +4, it's kind of worse than Basilisk Gate, because you can do it instant speed, and our edge is really to, like, the claim of Blue Terror is turn 3, 1 mana, 5/5 ward is better than everything that you can do in time. And if they have... Oh god. X is 2 on the Vandal. I think I can live with that. Because we can beat that with a Terror. Lead the Stampede is rough. I mean, this is a case, where Spell Pierce would have been so much better than lead. But this is one of the few matchups where that's the case. I think we're so desperate that we just need them to whiff on this Stampede. Because if we counter, next turn we have Brainstorm to see 3 cards. And if they can't be Generous End, then probably we can't ever beat it. Hunter. Well, at least not this turn. Okay, sure, they hit us for 3. Not the end of the world. Yeah, it sucks that we didn't do the Brainstorm trick earlier. We would like to attack, but we can't. Okay, so Counterspell will have to hold for 1 turn. Then we Terror next turn. I mean, Hunter would be so cool to counter the Hunter. They play the End first. Makes some sense. Yeah, the End. Oh, it's just not gonna work out for us if we let that enter. So next turn they will have the Hunter and whatever else. They actually show us a lot of their hand. Let's make sure to mental note here. And then we see 2 cards. Hopefully one of them is Counterspell. Unfortunately not. So they're gonna get their Hunter. At least, maybe even something worse. And then we need to bounce. We need to bounce their Hydra to steal the initiative. You see that if you're playing against Elves, you're asking a lot from Faith. And it's just hard to come back tempo-wise, because Demon Fury kind of asks you to be ahead on board. And if you're not, then Demon Fury is usually not really a removal. It's a bit better than Unsummon. Okay, so they dumped their hand. They had 1 million Quarian Rangers. But at least they can't attack. I think I'm gonna mill first. Brainstorm. Yeah, let's set up Brainstorm. Could run this Terror into their board and play a Serpent. Oh, what did I do? I always forget that the trigger is on this deck. Okay, we did it correctly. Yeah, we're not gonna have time to cast Lorien. Island? Actually, pretty decent. We could make sure to get the initiative, but we lose a Delver in the process. But we get a land. Lands lets us... Sleep is just so worthless. If we attack with this Terror, they probably jump or they trade. It would be also great. If we attack with these Delvers, they eat 1. We get an island, and they have to attack us back. Just not the worst, actually. Okay, so we used a lot of resources to get the initiative, but now we're also setting it up so that they kind of have to use at least some stuff to get it back. And I mean, let's be honest, they can easily do that still. They have another Hunter. Okay, so now we actually just traded a Delver for an island. And they have more. Oh, they have a Timber Watch now. You love to see it. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sleep of the Dead. Against 3 Quirion Rangers. I mean, this Timber Watch. If they play correctly, this Timber Watch is just going to kill us next turn. We can't attack with the terrors. I think I can somehow force them to use Quirion Ranger, but it feels a bit desperate. Okay, so let's tap this guy. Play a terror. Tap this. But I think this is just clicking and wasting time now. Yeah, there's no attack. So they gain the initiative. They untap their Timber Watch. Oh, they lead the Stampede. There's just so many problematic cards in this deck. It's not even funny. Okay, so they're pumping out their stuff. I'm just gonna block and see whether they know what they're doing with Timber Watch. Because they can surely... I mean, this is... Yeah, they're gonna be able... They're gonna be able to activate Timber Watch Elf once on an unblocked creature. Okay, so... Roast Toast. You're an elf player, aren't you? We definitely want Gutshot and Envelop against elves. So the plan is just to make the game as small as quickable, like as small as possible, like give them the least turns possible. The spell is just dead. If they don't have Quirion, or we can answer it with Gutshot, then Sleep is actually decent. And Deem is the only answer we have to a Timber Watch when it entered the board. So these stay in for sure. And then I think I'm just gonna cut 1 mental note. And we could also bring in a null, actually. Is it worth it? That's mainly against the Hydra. I don't love it. I always used to board this, but that was when I had more dead cards. I think I like Ponder better than a null. Ponder is just more universal. Okay, so game 2, game 3, we need them to mulligan to 5. And then we need the really good stuff. Okay. This is something. We have Gutshot Delver. We have no follow-up and we have no counter spells. But I think this is just too good to let go. Let's see. Do they mulligan to Oblivion? No. They just keep a good healthy 7 cards. Well, at least they can't protect it. And it's also not the best sign for the elf deck if they have Quirion turn 1. Another Delver. I mean, I think I like that. Let's get rid of this. Okay, attack for 1. End step, we can Lorien. Could also mental note. I think I like Lorien better. Lanoa, sure. Okay, give me a good top deck. Demon Furia. Yes, please. Okay. Do we want to draw Demon Furia? Right now we have unfortunately a 4-turn clock. Demon Furia, I could delay them. It's not amazing, but let's draw it anyways. Let's attack. And then we can mental note here and see what we find. We could also mental note next turn to make the Deem cheaper. Is there stuff that we wanna get here right now. Yeah, probably another Delver. Gutshot is gone. Okay, that's a bluff counterspell. They get a forest. I mean, they know about our demon inferior, but there is hope. I wonder whether we keep the Lorien. I think it's actually better to keep it. One more spell in the grave doesn't make a difference. Winding Way. Sure. If I was paying just a bit more attention, then maybe I would have realized that they are baiting here. Yeah, I think there is not much upside in Lorien here. Okay. So we can't deem End Serpent here. That will answer the tough question about doing both. Not answering Priest of Titania might be a mistake, but getting one more attacker down and then have Deem up. Now they get really, really great amounts of mana. So they have at least 8, 9 mana. But if we can Deem whatever they come up with, maybe we're in a decent spot. Problem is that they can do several things now. So they just pump it up to the max. If we had one more Delver hit earlier on. I mean, one generous end is not the end of the world. I'm glad we kept the Deem. They can gain 2 life now. It's also not the best. They need to jump the Serpent and they go back to 4. Hydra for 1. It's also not the worst. On this guy. I think I want to keep Lorien in hand at this point. Immediately punished. I think we're fine trading a Delver here. If they have Winding Way, they will just redraw this, which sucks. But they still need to block Delver and the Serpent here. They could go to 1. If they crack the food, trade with the thingy. Yeah, maybe holding back Lorien was too greedy. Otherwise, we had counterspell up here. Okay. I mean, we're probably still not in a good shape. If they can redraw this end. But they also need to play it. We got rid of the Quirion. It's pretty unusual. They got another one. The initiative. That's a kind of position where the initiative is good for us, I would say. So next turn they will jump the Aberration, trade with the Serpent, and then we have counterspell up for their thingy, for the end. So I'm just gonna keep this Lorien. Thought Scour is a good draw. Wait a second. Even better. Let's get rid of this end. Okay. What? Are they shuffled with the... Oh well. Could attack only with the Delver. Kinda like that. But they're gonna... Yeah. Kinda like it to only attack with the Delver. The reason being, if we attack with the Serpent, they 100%, or like pretty sure they block with the Hunter trade, and then they got the Forge, and they got a pretty good attack back. And if we let them Forge on the Hunter, and they attack, we can still trade with the Serpent, but they don't have a, 3/3 Priest of Titania left. Oh, man. Just go away with these value plays. Okay, so yeah, here we counter Lead the Stampede. If they have Timberwatch now, they have it. If they have another one. Now they have Timberwatch. Yeah, so wow. I mean, they don't have a flyer. That is something. But now they got a reacher. Yeah, this is rough. This is definitely a reason to be playing Dimir and not Blue Terror. Also, Faeries, I think, is just a bit easier to play with Dimir. But yeah, this is just the worst of the worst. And reason being, we definitely need. Oh, let's start it this way. Sleep of the Dead we cannot use because of Quirion. Or we could actually. No, we can't. Yeah, Sleep of the Dead we can't use. And Demon Furia is just overloaded. Even if we could find it. Because now they also have Timberwatch. And now Timberwatch is gonna enable some ludicrous attacks. If they don't have anything else, then we could probably survive this turn. But if now they put a Hydra on top, or I don't know what, it just lights out. And also yeah, sure. It's actually another reason to play Envelop. Forgot about that. But yeah, we need to answer Generous and Timberwatch. They pump plus 10. Yeah, this is over. Okay. Good beats against Elves. Is there anything to say about this? I don't think so. I think it was a good display in both games of what you can do against Elves, or like what you have to do. But you have to play to your outs, and then also get lucky that they don't have more gas. Like a Lead the Stampede resolving, you can get lucky that they only find a Lanois and something. But in between Quirion Ranger, Timberwatch Elf, Generous and Hydra, the Avenging Hunter to some degree, Lead the Stampede and Winding Way, it's 7 spells or 7 play sets of spells that all of them you have to some degree take care of. And as soon as the opponent has 2 or 3 of these resolved, just the 5/5 terrors only work in like some very narrow scenarios, and having 1 or 2 flip delvers only works in some scenarios. And then if they go full bananas and resolve 5 of these, there's just nothing that can save you. So definitely a grudge match. I think you could do something to make the sideboard better, like, I don't know, play 4 gut shots, etc. Gut shot was good here. But I think, looking at the Paupergeddon, actually, I'm just gonna, like, if I run Blue Terror, I'm just gonna try to ignore the Elves matchup. Like, it would be a mentality of, if I face it once during the tournament, that's one of the losses I have. And of course, I will sit down and play it and play to my outs. And especially if they mulligan a bit more, you can win these. But picking Blue Terror for Paupergeddon is actually dependent on what I think, how many people will bring Elves. Because on the last Geddon, Spy was the new thing in town, and everyone played Spy. Like, I think no one made it to day 2, but everyone played it. And the Geddon before that was Jund, with the same result, like everyone played it, no one came to day 2. And this Geddon, it could be Elves. Like on the last Geddon already, it was popular. I think it's popular in Italy. Giorgio Combo makes videos on it, so it gets hyped. It's good against Blue Terror, it's bad against Red Madness, and then you just see where you land. So maybe at some point it's time to predict just what the meta share of this deck will be, because yeah, as you saw, it's quite a rough one. See you in round 4. Welcome to round the draw. This one is not amazing either. We don't have any setup spells. We don't have any way to make land drops. But on the draw, I will just try to have Delver into counterspell and hope that's good enough. It's a bit risky, but I'm just keeping Deep Analysis. So in case we only draw lands, we have some way to get back into the game. And against a Ponder start, that might actually turn out decent. We will definitely flip the Delver. And if this is mono blue terror, then we will also flip it pretty soon. 2 Delvers. Not too bad, actually. Let's see what 2 Delvers can do. Next turn we could keep up Counterspell. Oh, this is strong. This spell is a really good draw here. We flip the Aberration and we also get to resolve the Delver. They can Thought Scour us here, but they don't. They could Boomerang us here, but chances that they have that is pretty low. And now, I don't know. We need to find more land, but at the same time we get pretty decent setup. They don't do anything. Wow, that's unusual. They Brainstorm. Could counter Brainstorm, but I would rather counter Thought Scour. Now they could have Demon Fury. Mental Note. This I will counter. Just keeps them off terror for longer. They have Dispel, okay. So they have 6 cards in the yard. Island is actually pretty good, although we don't flip. But this is what we need in the long run. I mean, yeah, Ponder into Island would have been better, of course. But let's see, maybe we can counter the first snake here. And then we might be still way ahead in the race. They have counter spell for that, okay. Ponder. So they're down to 2 cards in hand. And if this Ponder is bad, I think we're beating them. But yeah, let's see. Island, I mean, it doesn't flip the Delver, but it lets us play Deep Analysis. And that's pretty good as well. So I think I like the play of keeping Deep Analysis over Cryptic Serpent. Over Mental Note, maybe we would have liked to have it different, but so let me check. What did they do with the Ponder? They shuffled. Okay, so Lorien, okay. That's good. We can team now the Terror and also Brainstorm will let us flip the Delver. So we put back, let's see, we can play Deem right now. I think it's fine to mill 1 island. We could also terror ourselves. But for that we need to Mental Note. I mean, let's attack first. We don't really need to remove this terror. It would be nice, but it's not really necessary. Could even draw that delays Demon Fury, but I think we just don't really need Team anymore. So yeah, this is a showing of what Delver can do in this matchup. Unless they find Sleep of the Dead, for which they need to tap out. They just die to these flyers. They're digging with everything they have. So now they have 2 mana left. And we win the first one. Okay. So yeah, top decking that second Delver was really crucial. And then we found 2 more land drops naturally to hardcast Deep Analysis. And, you know, I feel like we played 5 spells and the deck has enough power to win off that. So we don't know if they run Delver themselves. In that case, I would board in the gut shots. Or if it's the Mystic version. Let's see if we have any dead cards at all. It could be that we don't. So Deep Analysis we need just to outgrind them. Demon Furia is important if they have Mystic, and because it's the only way to get rid of Mystic once it resolves. And if they don't have Mystic, it's still good against the Terrors. Sleep, of course, is amazing. Delver is really good. Dispel is really good. So the only thing we could cut would again be some of the setup spells. I'm willing to risk game 2 to not have anything against Delvers. And is Envelop good enough in the mirror? Let's just find out. I think setting up the graveyard is good and important, but unless you get totally out-tempoed, it's not crucial. This hand is decent. No early Delver, but we have Ponder, Thought Scour. Do we Ponder here? They could counter it, but maybe we find Counterspell. This is also decent. Yeah, let's just stack up all the snakes in hand. So Brainstorm enables us to mill Sleep of the Dead, and I think that will be worth it. Right now we can't contest any of their snakes. We could pretend to be able, but yeah, Sleep and Mental Note. We could keep up Dispel, but I don't think it's great. I think I would rather want Dispel on our next turn. And yeah, we have the same setup. They were on the play, so they get to slam the snakes first. Ponder is free if they have 2 Terror in hand. And they only have 1 Serpent. That's pretty good. We would like 1 more spell in the grave, but then we only cast 1 creature anyways, or tap out. And Lorien is just pretty good. Don't really want to use it here. So we could Serpent plus Dispel, or we could Terror plus Delver. They're probably gonna Deep Analysis and or play another creature. I don't really mind. Terror has the upside that we have Ward. I like the Serpent here. Maybe Terror gets cheaper next turn. Okay, so they have Mystic. They use Deep Analysis. Yeah. That could have not happened to a Terror. Anyways. Okay, let there be a spell. Perfect. Because the next card, of course, is not going to be a spell. It's going to be a Serpent. It's a bit risky to tap out again. But I want to draw this Serpent. Could have shuffled away the Serpent. But then we lose Lorien and we lose the Serpent on top. It's a bit risky. We might get tempoed here, but they have only one demon in the deck, I think, and Sleep of the Dead is too expensive, at least at the moment. And you see, we already stopped the aggression, for now at least. Problem is that now we do need to make the land drop. Tapping out for deep analysis I think is no good right now. And I mean, we could use our own sleep, but then they have way more cards than we do. But if we sleep here, we actually have a pretty good attack then. Otherwise we attack with all, we trade, play a Serpent, and then they have a pretty good target for sleep. Not sure. Yeah, but it's still probably best to... Yeah, if we trade, then I think they're in a better position to use Sleep of the Dead right now. Yeah, these blocks are kind of forced. It's not super amazing. They untap and play Mystic here. We are in for some trouble. But they've used a lot of their stuff. The 2 deep analysis are gone. But still they have... 2 mystics are gone. That's really fortunate for us. If they have to use Sleep of the Dead defensively now, they have one from hand. Sure. If they spend the turn to sleep from the grave now, which they do, then we can deep analysis next turn. Maybe they have creatures in hand and they didn't want to run them into our sleep. So I think for now we are in a decent spot. We could even ponder here, which I think is better. Could even deep analysis. No, maybe we actually find a terror here. We do. I mean, we get really good cards available to us. They have more, but more cards in hand, but we have more on board. And so apparently they're digging. Okay, and they call it. Apparently they didn't find creatures. So, pretty good showing of Delver of the Secrets in last game. This game, I mean, this is a risky hand. We're on the play. Until turn 3 we have 4 blind draws to find lands. Let's do this for science. I think Noob is a pretty good player. So, against the good players I like to keep the risky hands. Because sometimes I beat myself anyway, so let's make up for that by gambling as well. I mean, with the right hits of Mental Note and Thought Scour, drawing at least 1 land, this hand might turn into a beautiful beatdown. And if we mill the lands and find only, I don't know, more creatures or more removal, then we might not be doing anything for the first turns. They have Urza's Mine, okay, interesting. Then let's hope that we get the beatdown going really quick. Okay, that was a good mill. Now we need to find a land. Thank you. I think we won't need Demon Furia. Famous last words, of course. And let's just get rid of all this stuff. Pass the turn, and next turn we're gonna be slamming terrors. Could have milled a land, actually, kept Brainstorm, but that's live. Actually hitting the lands is more important. Okay, so they got their setup, but we will be playing 1 snake. If we had another terror here, beautiful. But as it is right now, this is the best we can do. And that's a 2-turn clock for them. So they're playing the multicolor version of the flickering and stuff, so they have some stuff. I don't often play against this deck. With this mana up, they could have negate or something. Question is, do we... Yeah, I think we keep up counterspell because our clock is good enough as it is. They could have weather or something, but this is just neutralizing Weather the Storm. So they go up to Tron mana, and I think they sometimes run Moments Piece. Cryogen Relic, sure. They could sack it to tap down the Serpent, but they're still dead on board. And it's enough. Okay. So yeah, definitely a good first mill, and then we found Brainstorm to find the land drops. And from there it was smooth sailing. I think it's only fair if I look up their list, because they definitely know what I'm playing, so I don't want to give up this advantage. So yeah, we're playing against the Mystical Teachings package. Moments Piece is a scary card. Murmuring Mystic. Weather the Storm does something. They have Prohibit. And then they have some flickering for Mildrifter. Mnemonic Wall. And in the sideboard they even have Stonehorn Dignitary, which is a hard lock against me, and Pyroblasts. So they have decent interaction in Prohibit and Pyroblast. The good payoff creature is Murmuring Mystic. They have value with Mnemonic Wall and Mildrifter, and the flickering. Do they have relics? They have Bojuka Bog, but they probably don't have relics. I think Envelop is also not at the best here. No. So we really can't board much. Sleep of the Dead is pretty bad. We could remove that for some Blue Blasts. And even if they have only very few Red Blasts, they will always find them with Teachings and a whole bunch of card draw. This hand again is pretty good. And I forgot about Annal. I always forget about Annal. Annal is also really good against their early expedition map and everything. Yeah, Annal we will board in if there is a game 3. But for now, let's hope that we could delay this one turn to play it with Dispel up, but I'm going for the risk. I think they also need to do the setup first, and don't expect them to have Red Blast this turn. They don't. Best would be Brainstorm, and we find Demon Furia. Okay, we reveal it, of course. We could bounce Expedition Map, but no, we can't. I like to mill it, actually. Draw for turn. I think I'm just going all aggro. They could have Breath Weapon, but how likely is that? Natural Breath Weapon on turn 3? I don't think so. We don't, especially because we don't have terrors. I think setting up 2 flyers and then just protecting with Counterspell and Dispel seems pretty decent strategy. And yeah, it works. We win. So we went 2-3. We had the first 3 matches that were pretty rough. Playing against Blue Faeries, Caw Gates, and Elves. So those are kind of rough ones where I think against Elves there was nothing to be done. Against Caw Gates, I had this game 1 where, game 2, where like in the mid game I could have countered the prismatic strands. I'm still not sure, maybe I will do a review of that scene and focus my decision making. I thought I had enough time to let it resolve, but maybe I didn't. And against Faeries, I think I definitely didn't play really sharp. I think there I countered like logical cards, but not really cutthroat cards. I could have saved counter spells for more important interactions. And then the mirror, match 4 was smooth sailing with Delvers. And yeah, if you have either very early terrors or very early Delvers against Tron, it's also helpful. And I think this just showed what I pointed to in the beginning. Like with Dimir, you have these amazing tools, you have Snuff Out and such, but you delay yourself at least a turn usually with the tapped lands. And with Blue Terror, you just present these threats, and if they can't answer it, they're dead. And that's really what happened here in match 4 and 5. So, yeah, pretty good testing. I think there is a lot to learn from this. Maybe I will look back to some gameplay later on. And next episode will be a Dimir Terror League. I will also do a detailed deck tech about that version and then just run it in a league and see how we go. So if you haven't already, leave a subscription to YouTube. If we reach 100, I will run the favorite of these decks in a challenge. And until then, see you in the next episode. Bye.